Good evening. The time is 7 p.m. and I will now call this regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. The next item is the acceptance of the agenda. I do have just a change on item 10. There's a date, November 15th. That actually should be November 21st. So when we get to that, that's when we'll have our public hearing. But with that, can I have a motion to accept?
I make a motion we accept the agenda as modified.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you. Next up is the approval of minutes from our meeting on October 18th. Were you all able to review those?
Mm-hmm.
If so, is there a motion?
I'll make, well, good.
I'll make the motion to accept the minutes.
Thank you, Ralph.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, John. Any errors, changes, omissions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Great. The next item is communications and correspondence. There is one item this evening, and this has been a long time coming, and Ralph has asked us, and I think it was very wise that we take some time to thank all of the many individuals that contributed over the years to the Portland Rec Complex, which many are now enjoying, thousands, I would say, every year. And so I'm going to turn it over to Ralph, who is going to take the lead on this.
So yeah, certainly it's been aware for me that we had to do something. Unfortunately, because of COVID, things did not play out as expected, that we could have had this grand event and had everyone come to the park to have an official opening. Kind of was piecemeal, plus with COVID getting pieces and parts we get open each time. So I wanted to make sure that we recognize all the people that had worked on this project, because I know I mentioned a lot having done the work on it, but there was a big group of people that certainly contributed. I'll make sure every one of them is acknowledged. So Ryan had a letter put together, and this letter I'm going to read is a letter that will go out thanking everyone that was involved with either in the town or committees or the groups involved with the project. So I will read the letter, and then there is a plaque that is on the pump room at the park, and or the room that handles all the stuff for the splash pad. And I'm going to read the names on the plaque just to acknowledge the people that we want to recognize for the hard work that they did making this a reality. So the letter is from the Office of the First Selectman, November 1st, 2023. The town created several committees to provide advice to the Board of Selectmen throughout the process of designing and building a new recreational park located on Route 17. The Route 17 Recreational Complex Advisory Committee was formed in September 2012 to hire an engineer, Weston and Sampson, and work to complete a design for the town park. After 33 months of countless meetings, multiple surveys, and conceptual designs, a preliminary design was approved by the Board of Selectmen. In August 2015, the Route 17 Recreational Complex Steering Committee was created by resolution to focus on public outreach, educating, and answering questions on the Route 17 Recreational Park. When put on referendum November 2016, it passed 2788 to 2352. Then in January of 2017, the Recreational Complex Building Committee was formed to again work with Weston and Sampson engineers to put the park out to bid. Over the next year, the committee worked on excuse me, detailed playground designs and splash pad equipment, concession stands, sports, turf, irrigation systems, and a construction budget. Unfortunately, due to various elements beyond our control at the time of the park's completion, an official ribbon cutting ceremony never materialized. We did not want to let those that championed the park not go without being recognized. Without the collective recreational park committee members that dedicated their time, energy, efforts, and vision, this great park would not be possible. On behalf of the Portland Board of Selectmen, it is with much respect that we thank you for bringing your passion, intellect, insight, experiences, and resources while serving on one of the Route 17 recreational park committees. We are grateful for your contribution to the process. Sincerely yours, Ryan J. Curley, First Selectman, Portland Board of Selectmen, John H. Dillon, Michael S. Hernandez, Robert W. Hetrick Jr., Sean P. Manning, Michael A. Pelton, and Ralph R. Zampiano. So the plan is that will go out to everyone that is on this plaque that we've acknowledged. So I'll just read the names. It's for what we consider to be the date that we opened, which was July 20th, 2020. I mean, Splash Pad came a little later and all the complexity, but at that time, we recognized the Board of Selectmen that were in place at that time. It was Susan S. Bransfield for Selectmen, Michael S. Hernandez, Louis J. Pear, Michael A. Pelton, Edward J. Shar Jr., James K. Tripp, and Ralph R. Zampano. We also wanted to recognize the Park and Rec Commission. And the difficulty and challenge was there was commissions all along the way, but this was indeed the one that was in the last phase of this process. At that time, it was Nate R. Foley was the director. Karen M. Aguilotti is the chair, still the chair. Kevin S. Backman, Christopher J. Donahue, Brian J. O'Connor, Deborah M. Ruth, Peter T. Philanda, and Amanda E. Herzog. We certainly, two of our biggest partners in this project was the engineering firm of Weston and Sampson Engineering, and we had a great relationship with the construction company, Dorita and Sons. We really worked very well with them, and they were very accommodating. It was a great relationship that we had with them, and it worked well. There was certainly a lot of people within the town that, whether through their role or whatever, played a role in this as well. And we also want to acknowledge some of the people that may have been part of the process along the way, but were no longer Town of Portland employees. We have Sandra M. Darna, Andrew S. Dion, Sean M. Dwyer, Carl J. Johnson, Richard D. Kelsey, Ashley J. Majorowski, Carol H. Ravicki, Deanna L. Rhodes, Tom E. Robinson, Robert J. Shea, and Nathan J. Streichhartz. The next group is of those people that were on one of the committees of the several that we had. I just want to acknowledge them, not specifying which committee, but there was 3 or 4 committees that were involved with the project, and they played a role on one or more. I will say some of the people played a role on more than one of the committees. Donald J. Angersola, Joseph D. Oresco, Richard W. Basso, Richard D. Carella, Gary H. Collins, Christopher J. Donahue, Patrick C. Farley, Ann E. Fisher, Aaron O. Gatto, Michael S. Hernandez, Joseph R. Inglis, John J. Kelly Jr., Eric S. Kissinger, Jessica K. Labadia, Carla A. McKay, Brian M. McCarthy, Stephanie M. Messina, Jennifer L. Oliva, Jessica L. Stelmack, Michael J. Suska, Richard B. Tellerico, James K. Tripp, and Donald J. Weeks. And finally, there was some of us, though I played multiple roles within these groups. There was some that were non-voting members where they were really consultants on what we were doing and providing their valuable information, knowledge. And in that group, we wanted to just acknowledge Sean M. Dwyer, Nathan R. Foley, Carl J. Johnson, Ashley J. Majorowski, Nathan J. Streichhartz, Bernice G. Zampano, and Ralph R. Zampano. I'm just glad we got a chance to do this. My effort on this project started in 2005 when I started on the Park and Rec Commission, so I was there for the whole ride. So I'm just happy we acknowledge this and we get this out to them. I'm sure they'll be happy to know that they've been thanked for the great efforts they all did. So thanks anyone out there that participated in this effort.
And thank you, Ralph, yeah, for all that you did.
And Bernice.
And Bernice. Great, great. Thank you, Ralph. This is important. I'm glad that you suggested this. And as Ralph mentioned, everyone on that list will be receiving a letter to thank them for their contributions. So a long time coming, but better late than never, right? So next up under communications and correspondence, I did, and we all received an email from Liz Habino with the Committee on Solidarity this afternoon, and she wanted to apologize because they missed our last meeting. So she did send an update, so I'll just read the update under communications and correspondence. So she just, like I said, I'll just read it. Hello, Board of Selectmen members. I wanted to apologize for missing the October 20th meeting when the Committee on Solidarity was scheduled to give an update. Here's our latest news. Number 1, resource brochure. Our updated resource guide for Portland residents has been distributed around town and through the school newsletters. We are working on having it translated into Spanish. The English version is attached. Our Pride subcommittee is working on making plans for an upcoming event and is reaching out to collaborate with the school's gay-straight alliances. We will keep you posted when we have more information to share. That was number 2. Number 3, the book discussion of Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man on September 18th had about 50 attendees, and of those who responded to our post-event evaluation, largely positive feedback. It was hard to hear in the room due to the large size of the group and lack of a microphone, which the library is working on for future events. The event was attended by adults of all ages, many from Portland and some from neighboring towns, and folks of different races and backgrounds. There were many great questions and topics touched upon, and a theme emerged that it is important to continue conversation and to include young adults in that conversation. We are so pleased that many people were interested in attending additional Solidarity Committee events focused on this topic and other topics. Thank you, Ryan, for attending and promoting the event. The library is hosting a follow-up event for youth focused on the young adult version of the book, Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Boy, scheduled for December 2nd. There are also plans being discussed with the library about hosting an intergenerational follow-up discussion. Number 4, the Juneteenth Committee is working on plans for Juneteenth 2024 and is excited that we will be partnering with Portland Public Schools this year. And we will be holding the event on Saturday, June 15th, 2024 at the secondary schools campus. So mark that down on your calendars. Number 5, we are currently still operating under a rotating chair agreement, and I am the current chair of the Committee on Solidarity through December 2023. Thank you. Please reach out with any questions, comments, or ideas. So Liz Habino. So thank you to Liz and the entire Committee on Solidarity. They are very busy. Seems like every time they give an update, there's always a lot more, to come on that. So thank you. That's it for communications and correspondence, so we can open it up to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to comment? Nothing in the chat. I just want to see if Mike Hernandez is. Mike, can you hear us on Zoom? Are you able to vote on things?
He's there.
Can we unmute him, or he's in the car?
He's in
Okay.
the car.
All right. So. Well, if we need you, come in. All right, so moving on, we'll move to the monthly budget report. Our Finance Director, Tom Robinson, is with us this evening. I believe you passed out the monthly budget report to you all, so you can take a look at that while Tom comes up. Keep in mind, I know I was talking with Tom earlier today that it is the first of the month, so I'm not sure how many entries, and Tom will probably tell you in a second, have been posted so far for for this month, but we wanted to get you something.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, it is the first of the month, so there's a few of the larger deposits, such as the town clerks. Some of their numbers aren't entered, and then you'll see some of those holes in the month to date, where there's zeros. I think more or less other receipts were posted up to around October 26th, so there's still a few more days of other receipts left in there. But when you're looking here at the revenues, property taxes current year, they continue to stay strong. We've only have 43% left to come in, and usually there's another big cycle in January. We're seeing an uptick here on the prior year collections. We have seen some collections due to the tax sale process that we had put out into place a month or so ago. So we're seeing some of that come in. There was also some previous sale items and items that were paid off anyway, but we're seeing that, so that should be a positive for this year cycle. 00101, which is educational cost sharing. Yesterday we received our first installment. That was $1.14 million, so that's good. Usually they come in at periodic times throughout the year. Pilot state-owned property, which is more of the tiered pilot program, that came in slightly above what we had budgeted. So they must have had some additional funds to provide. 00212, municipal revenue sharing. During the budget cycle, these show up as zero grants. There's no budget estimate, but again, last year I think we got 200 some odd thousand. This year we got 237. So another, that's a good amount of money. Conveyance tax, even without having the month of October in there, it's still holding up strong. If you were to look at the only 53% remaining to be collected. 00328 structural permits. We've received over half of the revenue that we had expected, so that's a positive. Anytime you're over the amount of where you are in that year, it's a positive. Investment income, as we had stated last time, the interest rates are much better than they were when we were doing budgeting, and continue to improve. So, and there's no the interest for that yet, because the statements haven't come out, haven't been posted for October. Any questions on revenues? All right, and then authorized spending. Feel free to look through the authorized spending, and if you have any questions, get back with Ryan or myself. On 020, which is the fire department, everything's doing well except for the equipment repairs is a little tricky. There's a few items that are in troubling. There's a engine out at Company 3 that needs some work, and I think the fire chief and the department's still reviewing their options there. But prices just are expensive, and the repairs are expensive on the apparatus. 23, police department, that would be page 5. Private duty, it continues to be strong, continues to have the officers to be working. We're seeing that we only have 40% of the budget left in that line item. That's also a revenue generating line item, so there'll be an offsetting or a revenue line item in the general fund that will create funds there. And then we'll have to investigate that later on if we need to do a supplemental. At times with that, we have to do a supplemental revenue, supplemental expense on that, but there's still some time left there. Licensing software, that's right now, if there's any additional software that would be required, would likely push that to a being over budget. But right now, I think they're sitting okay. But if there's any additional software that would be required, that would likely push that to a negative balance. 3,200 conference meetings and dues. As we had stated last time, there were a few high dollar value trainings that were unanticipated due to the fact of departments bringing the classes to, Portland, or not to Portland, but to Connecticut. So there, opportunities presented itself that would require or lean toward, we would really need to have the guys do the trainings while they're in Connecticut area. So we are seeing that one's taking a little bit of a hit, so we'll keep watching on that. Let's see. Page 7, vehicle maintenance. Similar item with what we discussed with fire. There's just, the vehicle, vehicles that need repair, they're just expensive repairs. Parts are expensive, the labor's expensive, it's just costly. So we'll keep watching that. Hopefully some of the newer assets will help us in that area, but as some of the assets age, those often cause needed repairs. Page 8, equipment rental. You see here, there's only 23% of the budget left on that line item. That's one of the ones we'll have to continue to watch. At times, the grounds department does need to do rentals to complete some of their work, and they do have repairs that are required to their various pieces of equipment. Page 11, municipal agent of the elderly. That should be, we should have about 67% of the budget remaining at this point. We have about 60 to 61%. So that's another one that the senior center director and First Selectman Curley will work on coordinating what their plan is there. Those are my notes for expenses for this period. Any questions? All right. Thank you all.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Todd. Dave, can we get Mike Hernandez unmuted? He says he's muted by the host, so. Just, I don't know if he wants to talk now, but just, Mike, can you talk yet?
I'm all set, Ryan. I just got unmuted.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Awesome, thanks, guys. Great, so we'll move on to item 8, which is our Board of Selectmen meeting dates for calendar year 2024. So in your packet, it's the green sheet. These are our proposed dates to meet in the next calendar year. Just to note a couple things on here, there is only one meeting in June because the 19th is Juneteenth. So there's that, and then there's only one meeting in July because of the 4th of July holiday. And then in October, Rosh Hashanah begins sunset on October 2nd, so we're going to meet on the 9th and the 23rd in October instead of the normal 1st and the 3rd Wednesday of the month. Those are everything else is 1st and 3rd Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Ryan, I just have one question.
Sure.
For June, do we want to do the same thing we did in October and move it back a week? 'Cause it's always easier to cancel a meeting than try and add it if we have to do something that month.
Let me see. The only downside to that is,
Because then we only have one in July as well.
Right.
well, believe me, if we need a meeting, we're gonna have a meeting. Like, I don't have a problem scheduling a special meeting if we have business to conduct. We do, it is a little difficult, especially that time of year, to you know, with people's schedules and all that, what would that be? What would, it would be June
12th and the
12th
26th.
and the 26th.
I mean, what about keeping the 5th and maybe adding the 26th?
That's fine.
Yeah.
I just think it would make more sense than
Then
just
that-
having one in June and one in July.
Yeah.
No, I don't disagree with that. Let's do that then. So we'll add a meeting for June 26th to this. And then that way, I know July's tough because, you know, with the 4th of July
Yeah.
holiday. that
Well,
eats into-
I think that's good too, because I think the week of the 12th, that's graduation week.
Yeah, that's what, yeah. You
Yeah.
gotta be, there's a lot of things that
Yeah.
go on in June, actually May and June here, but, okay, great. Any other comments or suggestions?
Looks good.
All right, so, is there a motion to approve the calendar as amended?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Well, any further discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks, Mike. Any opposed? Any abstention? All right, great, thank you all. All right, the next item is item 9, which is the purchase of an AED for the Route 17 recreational park. This defibrillator, I believe we've spoken about in the past. Now, we have two organizations in town that have committed to donating towards this purchase. We have the Kenny Fletcher Car Show, which has pledged to donate $1,000, as well as the Knights of Columbus for $1,000, and both of these organizations are donating in the name of Buddy Hernandez, who was a very, very active member of the community. And I think it's a wonderful thing. I know, I'm sure everybody here thinks it's great. And so Bob Shea Chief Shea had looked up quotes off the state contract for these defibrillators, and the price tag is $3,009.59. I included that quote in your packets, so $3,009.59. Now this does include because this would be outside at our Portland recreational complex, it needs to have a heat source, it needs to be heated in order to keep it, you know,
I was
sustained.
thinking that, as I was thinking about it, I saw you listed it here.
Yep,
That's-
so that added to the price,
Yeah.
that was an additional $729. So this is the price, and Bob had told me that he would have the fire department install this at the recreational complex. And so what we would do tonight is I would be looking for a motion to allocate the full amount, the 3,000, you know, I would say maybe, you know, $3,010 from town contingency. And then each of these organizations that are donating to this
Will
will write it-
offset that?
Will offset that, yeah. So the town will be out $1,009.59. Is that correct, Tom?
It's correct, other than it won't be an offset, but the revenue will come in.
The revenue will come in. It's not going to go back to
Right.
contingency though. Yeah, correct. Thank you, Tom.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you both. And what was the dollar amount? We'll say 3,010?
3,010.
Okay. Any discussion on this?
I'm glad to see it, this is great.
Yeah.
And thank you to the two groups that donated.
Yeah, big thank you to them. All right, I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Waiting on, didn't want to leave somebody out.
I was just trying to say, should I abstain because it's in my father's honor, right?
Oh.
I'll for it, but I think I'm
think
just
so.
gonna abstain.
Okay. I don't think it matters, but.
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, I don't think it,
All right. I'll approve if it doesn't matter. I'll
Yeah.
abstain.
Thanks.
It's an honor your
I think
dad,
you guys
Mike.
got the votes, so-
Yeah.
We definitely got the votes.
So you should go.
Thank you. I'm
Thanks,
pretty
Mike.
sure it's unanimous
Yeah.
here. All right, thank you. So, any opposed, any abstention? No. All right, so motion carries. Thank you all, and we'll get that installed for the hopefully for the spring season. you know.
Yeah, it's
So
great.
that'll be great, honestly. I had gotten some, I think we had even I read some letters or shared them with you of residents asking for that at
Yeah.
the rec
Yeah,
complex.
That's what actually drove us to give the money.
Really?
Yeah, because we were gonna, it was slated to go to the firehouse.
Mhm.
And that night that letter came up, they were voting on that $1,000, and I texted them and said, can I donate it to this? And they said, yeah, so that's how.
Thank you, that's great, yeah. So I'll have to let those residents know that, we approved that, so that's great. And next is item 10, set public hearing for American Rescue Plan funds for infrastructure projects, Russell Avenue, Water Main, and Co Avenue Pump Station. And our Public Works Director, Ryan O'Halpin, is here to answer any questions. I'm gonna take the first shot at it as far as what is before you in the resolution. So as you all will remember, back in January of 2022, excuse me. Back in January of 2022, this board approved the use of $1.1 million of American Rescue funds for 2 infrastructure projects. It was water line replacement on Russell Avenue, as well as a pump, redoing the pump station on Co Avenue. And these were both 2 long overdue projects. At the time, Bob Shea, who was then Public Works Director, went out, explained what we were doing, what was needed and all that. There were some delays initially. For one, because it was American Rescue funds, we were unsure about the engineering, if we had to go out to bid on the engineering and all that. So we kind of waited on that, then we had to get a new Public Works Director. And so there was some hiccups on this, but it did go out to bid recently, and both bids came back. And both came back over what we had budgeted. So that's what is here in this resolution, is we're figuring out both of these projects are very important, so we're looking to fund them. So in order to fund both of them, we need to use what would be the remainder of our American Rescue funds. And we have that estimated right now at $218,000. Now, this could go up depending on how our other projects end up that we've already allocated. And so our finance director is working on that. So that could change, but I'm gonna read this resolution, and then if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But tonight, we're not approving the resolution. All we're doing is setting a public hearing, and I'm recommending that the public hearing date be November 21st, 2023 at 6:50 p.m. And then that is the first meeting of the new Board of Selectmen. We normally have a introductory meeting at that meeting, but this would go on the agenda.
You said 21? Because Wednesday's the 22nd.
Correct. You're right. But, so, per our charter, the first meeting of the new Board of Selectmen convenes 2 weeks to the day from Election Day.
Ah.
So Election Day is on the 7th, and so this would be on the 21st. So,
Hmm.
yep. So we'll have a swearing-in ceremony for those new selectmen prior to that, most likely at 6:30, and then we'll probably have that, I believe we've reserved the senior center for that, and then we'll walk over and have a public hearing at 6:50, and then have that first initial meeting of the Board of Selectmen at 7 p.m. So that's the game plan. And at that meeting, we will most likely be approving this resolution. So I'm just going to read that. And this is dated November 1st, American Rescue Plan Funds, Water, Sewer, Infrastructure, and Road Improvement Restoration. Whereas the town of Portland is in receipt of American Rescue Plan funds, and whereas up to $10 million of American Rescue Plan Act funds can be used for a wide range of expenses due to the final rule regarding revenue loss, and whereas one of the approved uses of the ARPA funds is to make improvements to water and sewer infrastructure, and whereas the town has identified water and sewer infrastructure needs within its 5-year capital plan that far exceeds $1 million, And whereas 1.1 million of the American Rescue Plan Act ARPA funds was approved by the Board of Selectmen on January 5th, 2022 for critical water and sewer infrastructure improvements, including an estimated 150,000 of related road improvements and restoration. And whereas bids have been received and reviewed, and the full 1.1 million of previously allocated ARPA funds will be needed for the water and sewer improvements, as well as an additional 218,000 to complete the critical infrastructure portion of this project, for a total of $1,318,000. And whereas the town will still need to restore and improve the road surface above the utilities at an additional cost. And whereas the town will likely need to use state grant funds to fund approximately $220,000 for the related road improvements and restoration. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Selectmen of the town of Portland hereby approves the use of ARPA funds up to $1,318,000 for critical water and sewer infrastructure improvements. And be it further resolved, the Board of Selectmen hereby approves the use of state grant funds of up to $220,000 for road improvements and reconstruction. And be it further resolved, if any of the allocated ARPA funds for these projects remains available before road improvements and reconstruction, those improvements can be charged against the $1,318,000 ARPA authorization. There's a typo. Allocated on the last resolved, should say allocated ARPA, so I'm gonna cross out that of. But that's the resolution, and do you have questions on, you know, what we're talking about and what's going on?
Yeah, you just may want to note shortage.
I would, yeah, so Ryan and advised that really, we have contingency built into this. There's a 5% contingency on the project, and if we were to fully fund the contingency, we're talking about, I think it was 238,000, but we're saying realistically, it would be nice if we had a $250,000 in American Rescue Funds to allocate to this as a cushion. However, we only have the 218,000 at this time. So, as I mentioned, that could change as we look at the other projects, and that number can go up. But right now, we're working off of 218, which does kind of eat into the contingency a little bit on this.
So is the public hearing for the full amount, or essentially to approve the additional 218?
The public hearing is on the American Rescue Plan portion of it.
Okay.
So per the American Rescue Plan, because it's federal dollars, we are required to hold a public hearing.
Right. You need a motion?
I need a motion to set a public hearing for.
I'll make the motion that we set a public hearing for use of American Rescue Funds for the water sewer infrastructure work to be done. Do I need to say exactly where?
The Russell Avenue water.
Russell Co. Avenue.
Yeah.
And it will be set for Tuesday evening, November 21st at 6:50 p.m. here.
Thank you. And the good news, though, is I forget how many bids came in. I mean, we did have quite a few bids, and unfortunately, as with everything else in the past, 2 years, everything has gone up, which is, so the numbers that we, have been working off of back in January of 2022 are now higher. And so while that's unfortunate, the good news is I believe it's the pump station project, can go on over the winter. Is that?
Yeah.
And then the water main on Russell would occur in the spring. So both of these projects, if approved, will be going very quickly. So that's the positive news on this. Downside is everything is expensive. So, all right. Any
I'll
further
second.
discussion?
We need a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll second that.
Okay. I don't think we need discussion on the public hearing, but we can talk after.
Yeah.
Call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Alright.
Any opposed? Any abstention? All right, so we have that. Do you have any questions for Ryan since he's here on this?
Actually, just one general question. But it's not direct, it's related to this, but in general. So what, because I've had some people ask me over the last couple of months, when we put out bids for something, whatever it is, and we get something where all the bids are high, or we don't like them, how often do we put it out again? I mean, what's the feeling about going out? And I'm not talking about this sounds like it's just more expensive, but what's the general thing that you look to do if you have a bid that comes back and it's not up to your specs?
So
What's your decision process on that?
these specific bids had line items
Mhm.
for every single thing on there. And just looking at if they're reasonable or not, I guess, would be the first thing to look at. And there was one bid on the pump station project that was unreasonable. The other two were very tight. And that one was more than double the other two bids. So that's what you gotta look at as well, how close the bids are to each other. And how many bids we got. We got 5 bids on the water project and 3 on the sewer project. So if you get one bid and it's double what you were thinking, I think maybe you go back to the drawing board on that one and maybe send it back out. Do some different advertising, figure out a way to get more people involved. But we did have good contractors bid these projects, and I believe they are good numbers. Unfortunately, they are higher than expected, but I think if we tabled anything, I think the numbers only go up.
Go up, yeah.
So best to get it done while we have decent numbers.
Awesome, thanks.
The repaving of Russell Avenue afterwards, is that included with the water main, or is that a separate bid?
So that is going to be included, but like I said, there were line items, so I'm able to take those line items for the road reconstruction and move that out. That's that 220,000. So it'll be the same contractor that's doing the water line.
That was it, thanks.
You want to touch on Hilltop at all?
Sure, yeah, a little update on the project over on Hilltop. It's going great. We should have a brand new paved road by Thanksgiving, I would say. The only thing that didn't go well, we hit some rock on the top of Hilltop. Initially, when we were looking at this project, I was talking with Rick Kelsey and with Bill Lynch, and we had a water main break about halfway up the hill on Hilltop a couple years back. There was no rock there, and then where we tied into Spring Street, about 100 feet into Hilltop, there was no rock there. So when we were coming up Hilltop, maybe 20 feet past where the water main break was, we hit rock. Same on the other end, coming out onto Spring Street, we came right out of the rock right there. So it was just unfortunate. These things happen. We are going to get the project done, but there is a significant change order for the rock, for hoe ramming all that rock, and it's about 200 yards of rock, and then there was some unsuitable clay soils that needed to be replaced with gravel. So yeah, the road project will get done, and the water line will be done, and yeah, it's just gonna cost a little more. But we're gonna use some state grant funding to get the project completed.
Can I ask another question while I was here? The sidewalk project on High Street in Freestone, is that all complete now?
It's completed. The sidewalk portion is complete. There's still some beacons to go up at the crosswalks. The lines need to be painted at the crosswalks, and a bus shelter needs to get put up at Chatham Court, and that was just a long lead time. We're waiting on safety markings to do the striping, and I think the beacons were a long lead time that are going at the crosswalks as well. And then there's signage as well that was ordered maybe 2 weeks ago, and he's waiting on that to come in. So as these things come in, they're gonna be popping up and getting things done. Probably won't be 100% complete until the end of the year.
Okay.
But sidewalks are done, they look great, and, yeah, the contractor did a great job. It was good to work with them. D&P Marias, yeah, hopefully we see them bid Main Street sidewalks in the spring.
And I want to give Ryan some major kudos for coordinating the pole movement on Riverside Street. You guys have no idea how
Well,
difficult
I heard
it is to
about it.
move a pole.
I know.
Where you got, and Ryan was able to coordinate this in a week and had what, Comcast, had
Frontier, yeah.
and Eversource all lined up, and I don't know how you did it, but you got it done. So
It
thank
was,
you.
it was not an easy task, and it needed to get done while the contractor was still in town, so they didn't have to remobilize all their equipment and possibly charge us for another mobilization. So it all came together, and they literally were out of here in 2 days. So they went right down there, finished up on High Street, and they were out of here. But yeah, kudos to Frontier. Frontier helped out. Eversource and Comcast, they were hard to get in touch with, but they finally came through at the last second. So it was a lot of phone calls and a lot of finding out who we know that works at these places and can make some calls. So, but it went well, and yeah, hopefully we don't have to do that again.
Yeah, we have plenty of other sidewalks to replace too,
Yeah,
so we'll
yeah.
stick with that for a little while.
Yeah, we did not want the double pole and the sidewalk in between. That was the last thing we wanted, so.
All right, thanks, Ryan.
All right,
Awesome.
thank you guys.
Thanks.
And I do want to thank this board as well for all the support. I wish everyone luck next week, and, yeah.
What's
look-
going on next week?
And, yeah, just appreciate all your support for Public Works. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
All right. Item 11, Great Blue Survey. So in your packets, you have a new and improved Great Blue Survey. Now, what we did was I took the feedback from last time, and we added that, which was a great suggestion, John, on number 11. And we added that the Portland Secondary Schools specifically need approximately 11 million of infrastructure improvements in the next 8 to 10 years. So we make sure that that's kind of spelled out. So after that, what I did was I've been using some town employees at Town Hall who are Portland residents as kind of test subjects on this survey. So what I did was I went to an employee and I asked, I said, if you have some time, would you mind taking this survey and timing yourself? I don't care about, I don't want to see the results. I want you to tell me how long it takes you to take it, and then any feedback that you have from the survey. And actually, that was really beneficial, because the first time I got it back, it took them 24 minutes.
Oh.
And you guys know that that's way too long. And so, but they also had a lot of positive feedback too and suggestions. So what came of that was we kind of streamlined some of the questions. We took out some questions that were kind of repetitive and unneeded. Particularly, the big thing that I want to highlight was that under the plan, now there's three main choices in the plan, and previously, after each one of those options was presented, we then asked the question on the secondary schools. How do you feel about improvements at the secondary schools? Well, rather than ask that same question 3 times after every choice, we now ask it at the end of the survey. So under final choices on page 7, you'll see any of these plans could also include an additional up to 12 million of necessary capital improvements to the Portland Middle School and High School. So we still get that, but we don't ask it, 3 times. We ask it once. So I think that was beneficial. The other thing that was asked for, so I had one person take it, and then I took that feedback, and then I had another person take it, and we got the time down a little bit, and then got some more feedback. And then someone suggested that we add this table in here at the end. They wanted the table of the 3 options and the summary. They wanted that before each, like at the beginning, but Great Blue pushed back on that because it would kind of lead people. We want them to read the information first and then use the table, but we still have that table in as a guide, and I've heard from the people who have taken this so far that it is very helpful to have that, in there. Also, we did get the numbers from our financial advisors, so the numbers that you see in the table and in the survey have now been vetted. They are accurate as of last week, so that is good news there. And actually, I had another employee take the survey yesterday, and they had a time of 11 minutes and 4 seconds. So
Much better.
I think that was much better. So we've gotten that down. I'm pretty proud of the survey at this point. I think actually Laurel's on the meeting tonight. She just emailed me with 2 small typos in here that were good catches. Thank you, Laurel. I sent those over to Great Blue, so they're going to incorporate those 2 typos in, fix that. But other than that, they're working on the survey now, the digital survey. I'm told they should have that link for me, and I can share that by the end of the week once I get that as a test, and then we'll get the cards out, and we'll be ready to get this survey out to the residents. So I want you guys to take a look, see if you have any additional comments or feedback, but I certainly thank you guys for all the feedback that you've given, as well as the Board of Education. This has been a big project to get to this point, but I think it's ready for prime time.
It looks like the first few pages where we ask the demographic data and kind of give a background on the work that was done up to this point is pretty much what we originally saw. It doesn't look like there's too many changes there, right?
Nothing was added. Nothing was
Right.
added. The only thing that on question 9, there's characteristics, and it asks you to rate, what's 1 through 5, if it's important, not important, and all that.
Yep.
And then there was a question after that asked you to what your top 3 were, and that was kind of redundant because we already could glean what the top 3 were from it. So we removed that question,
Yep.
and we just did trim things like that.
Yep.
Nothing was added that, we were trying to make this easier to take, and actually, all the feedback that I've gotten, everyone has said so far that it was very easy to follow. They actually thought it was fine, so, which is good, because that's the one thing I didn't want, was people to get this and then be confused by it, and it doesn't seem to be the case.
And the hard thing is when you're looking at it on paper and flipping and looking at all the pages, that's not the way a person sees it. They're gonna see just what's put on the screen as they work their way through, so. No, I think looks really good.
Yeah, and I like the changes.
I don't think I need a vote, I just wanted to get the board's blessing on it before we finalize it. So if you guys are all comfortable with it, then we'll just get going.
Let's get moving.
Yeah, it's definitely was improvements for about what was done. I mean, just the feel of how heavy it is. You can tell it's less questions.
35 questions total, I think, with, except for the opt-in questions.
Right.
We were at over 40 previously, so.
I think it's good.
I like it.
You guys good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we will continue on with that. We'll get the postcard ready. I sent over to Great Blue, to Seamus, the guy we've been working with, sent him the town seal, so the postcard's gonna have the town seal on it. I have not seen a draft of that yet, but, we wanna make sure that it's, eye-catching. hoping we can get, some kind of a bright color or something, so
Mm.
people don't throw it away. We want people to read it and then take the survey. So, and then we're gonna, of course, have to publicize it,
Right.
and get that out. But yeah, no, so thank you all. So, all right, so we'll move on from that to item 12, which is appointments to boards and commissions. I think we have a couple today.
We have two. For the first one, Veteran Affairs, we wanted to move Rodney Spooner from alternate to member.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion on that?
No?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? Motion carries unanimously. Right, Mike? I don't know.
Yeah, Mute again.
Ready for the second one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Municipal Building Study Committee, Kristen Furtak.
I believe that's how you say it.
Okay.
Yep. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
And discussion, I had a conversation with Kristen last week. Dr. Britton recommended her to this, and she has a background in architecture. So I think that's very fitting. I explained, what we're doing and all that, and so yeah, great.
And her name again, I'm sorry? Marissa?
Kristen?
Kristen, I'm
What's the
sorry.
last name?
Furtak?
Okay, thanks.
No. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right.
None from us.
None for, okay. No refunds of excess payments. I'm really sorry, Ralph.
I was looking forward to doing a few.
One last
Well,
time.
just an honor. I'll second that.
All right, well, we'll move on to status reports. So, well, you know what? I'll, actually, let me do this first. So, we had a ribbon cutting at the senior center. Several of the selectmen were able to attend. That was a really nice event, and we're glad that that's done. We may even be able to still use some remaining grant funds to do a couple extra items. I asked DOH if maybe while we were there, I said, hey, could we maybe get some security cameras here, with some of the remaining funds, and they seem to be open to. I got an email saying that, to reach out, put a formal request in. So I think it would be nice if we can get some security cameras outside the senior center with these grant dollars to protect, because as you all know, we also had a recent vandalism at the food pantry, the little hutch that's behind the PD. So if we can get some cameras there, I'd like to angle them so we can check out the parking lot and all that, and it has some added security there. So more to come on that, but I just don't want to leave any dollars on the table, certainly. Our track project is really just about done. They finished on Saturday with the rubber, the top coat has now been completed. It looks really, really nice. Please, still don't go on the track yet, though. Although it has dried. They're going to be here, weather permitting, next week to do the line painting. Once the lines are painted, I think it takes about 2 days to dry. So no one can be on the track, once those lines are painted. After that, it's done. So yeah, that's really exciting. So we'll have to look for a ribbon cutting for that at some point. Of course, it's getting colder, so maybe we do that in the spring. But, I got the big scissors, so we're ready. And cameras at the Portland Rec Complex have been purchased. Tom, right? Dave, do you want to talk about that? Do you want to come up and talk about the cameras at the Rec Complex?
Sure.
Thanks.
Yes, the cameras at the Portland Rec Complex, we went out and got 3 quotes on those. Those came in, and the low bidder is going to be installing cameras on Friday. So we're going to have 8 cameras out there. We purchased 8 cameras, but we also have a 16-channel DVR, which gives us room for expansion for more cameras, and a 6 terabit hard drive, so, which will be good. So, that'd be good.
Thank you,
hear.
Gabe. Yeah, this is, and
Thank
this
you very
is,
much, that was another one of my
You're-
finished
you're about to
items.
as Ralph every meeting would say, Ryan, we need cameras and we need to thank everyone at the rec complex. And
Talk about
so
down to the wire, huh?
right on time, right on time. So, no, that was a great, honestly, we needed cameras there, we really do. We have a, $7 million park, we might as well have some security cameras.
Yeah.
So Ryan already touched on the connectivity grant with the sidewalk, so that's good. Water bills were delayed, just so you know. They went out in the mail, I believe, today. I talked with Cindy, just so you guys know. I forget why, it was a software issue?
Yeah, we updated the software. It seemed like a great thing, and then it
That's right.
didn't work too well in practice.
Okay. Yeah.
So we have a meeting with them at the end of the month. We'll figure out one way, we might go back to the old way, or they fixed it.
All right, so thank you, Ryan. Stay tuned on the software delays if that didn't get picked up on the mic or software update problems. Leaf pickup will be beginning on November 26th. So there's it's on our website, and I'll do a post about it, but I figured I'd mention that now. And I think that's it for me for status report, so I think I'll turn it over one last time to Ralph.
Well, ironically, the last meeting I would be attending, before this meeting, I could not make. But I knew the gist of what, the library board, they met before the regular meeting last week to do the work on their long-range plan, which they have to, I think it has to be drafted for December. I thought that's what she.
Yes.
Jen
Yep.
said. So they did that, and then they also had sessions with the public, I believe, were also
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah.
So they're getting their feedback so they can finish off the long-range plan for the library, and that'll be a big win. We're getting that done and being ready to move forward. So those are the main items that would have been on that week. So that's that.
That's it? That's all you got?
That's all I got. Sorry.
You're not even gonna talk about the Parks and Rec 5K, or?
Well,
was wet.
I was gone all week, so I
Ah.
haven't heard I am gonna go to the meetings next,
Okay.
whatever. I wanna get the numbers. I wanna hear how we did with the numbers. I mean, obviously, we had the run. And then Main Street sounded like Main Street was a huge success. with
Yes,
the
that was,
trick-or-treat,
I know, I was
so.
leaving those for you.
It just kills me. I said, I usually do the photos for the race. I think in all the years I've been on the commission, this was the first time I wasn't there to do the photos for the race. We were away, just how it fell, so. But I'll continue to be volunteer and help them out, so.
Ralph,
Am I going-
Ryan was just asking because he wants you to ask him how he did. That's the only reason he brought it up.
I was trying to just avoid that conversation. I saw that
We
picture.
don't need to talk about it. All right, thank you, Ralph. Any other status and committee updates?
No?
So, all right, we'll open it up to public comment. Anyone in the audience? And anyone in the chat? Nothing in the chat? All right, so we'll move on to Board of Selectmen general informal discussion. I guess now's the time that we do have to thank Ralph for his years of service to this board. I'm going to miss Ralph and working with you on this board. I know you're not, going anywhere, but honestly, like, I can't thank you enough. You've been, so great to work with. You've been a friend. I'm gonna miss you, like, here. I wish you were running again, but you're not. And so I know we all wanted to thank you for all that you've done and do for this town. So we have a certificate of appreciation. I'm gonna read this. May it be known that this certificate of appreciation is presented by the Portland Board of Selectmen on behalf of the townspeople to honor Ralph R. Zampano for the outstanding time, effort, and work he has accomplished as a member of the Board of Selectmen having served 3 terms, beginning by being elected on November 7th, 2017, and then being re-elected November 2019 and again in 2021. Prior to his time on the Board of Selectmen, Ralph served on the Parks and Recreation Commission for 12 years, starting in February 2005 by filling a vacancy created by the resignation of Robert Doak until resigning November 2017. 7 of those years serving as commission chair. The town of Portland has greatly benefited and progressed to its present status because of Selectman Zampano's generous work, volunteering, and leadership. Now therefore, let it be known that I, Ryan J. Curley, First Selectman of the town of Portland, Connecticut, on behalf of the Board of Selectmen and the townspeople of Portland, do hereby extend sincere thanks and appreciation to Ralph R. Zampano, presented this first day of November in the year 2023 in the town of Portland, Connecticut, presented by Ryan J. Curley, First Selectman, Board of Selectmen, John H. Dillon, Michael S. Hernandez, Robert W. Hetrick Jr., Sean P. Manning, Michael A. Pelton, and Ralph R. Zampano. So this is for you. Congratulations.
Thank you,
Ralph, you want to just turn it around so we can get the camera on that, maybe?
Turn.
Right there, well,
Tip it. There you go. There you go.
Michelle put copies of the proclamation in the packet, and I was like, no, we can't have that. We have to
John will be over there.
So, I just want to, thank everyone for acknowledging the work that I did. As I said, I'm not going anywhere. I still have interest. I still have very much an interest in water and sewer. Well, water, specifically about what's happening in water. So, I wouldn't rule out that there might be something involved in my future in the water.
You saying there's something in the water?
Yeah. Because that was the one thing. It was like it's the project I wanted to see. I want to see my project's done that I had interest in. So we'll see what plays out with water. But thank you very much for the plaque.
Thank you. I think we got to put the back on it. I think it's like popping out.
Yeah.
But we'll fix it. All right. Any other things for general informal discussion?
I have a couple things. Do we have a status on the senior center van?
Yes, mid to late December this year. So we're hoping for a Christmas present for the senior center.
That was an update of this week, so
Okay.
should be.
Last we talked, they were finishing the fuel pump at Public Works. That's up
All
and
done.
running.
Yep.
All right.
That's done.
Fire alarm.
All done.
What can we be told about engine 3?
TBD. I asked Bob just yesterday if I should talk about it tonight, and he told me to hold off on it.
Okay.
So, I mean, just so you know, it's no secret that engine 3, the tank is rusted out, and when they looked at it, it was worse. There were some other things that were worse, but I know Bob and the fire department are looking at options right now, but there's really there's nothing, I don't have anything past that, but it's unfortunate. It's not great. We're down an engine right now at Company 3, which is not something that, it's not a position that we want to be in, so there'll be more to come on that, but yeah, stay tuned. Okay. Anything else?
No?
As Ryan said, I'll just say good luck to everyone except Ralph. I have nothing for follow-up items, so I'll entertain a
I'll
motion.
make a motion, we adjourn.
All right, thank
I
you.
will second.
There you go.
There we go. All those in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks, Mike.